Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, 50 years ago, 20th of June 1975, this movie first came out. Some of you may not remember it, some of you may. Those of you who do remember it, how good was it? How good is it still? How good is it? So this iconic image, which was one of the posters, from the opening scene. Well, that's Christy Watkins, that's the character, first victim. This particular edition, this is the 30th anniversary 2-disc special, this one. And how good is it still? What's for me, what's good about this is when Spielberg first made it, everything went wrong on the set, as I'm sure if you've seen the behind the scenes footage, everything went wrong, but because the biggest problem was the mechanical shark, getting that to work, that turned out to be so fortuitous, because when along came actually I think it was before John Williams' score happened. I think Steven Spielberg had the idea of not seeing the shark, which made it more psychological. You left it up to your own imagination, didn't it? So the fact that the shark didn't work was it was genius. It fell in his lap. That's what we don't need. We don't need the shark. We just need the idea of the shark. And how good did that turn out? Coupled with the brilliant score from John Williams, and he was how right was he? He was so right that iconic da 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 da, and it gets faster and faster and faster, doesn't it? And then right at the end, you hear the violins playing the note, almost scratching backwards, which I think is supposed to be the teeth of the Carcharacter Carcharias, the great white, eventually grabbing the victim. So the fact that the one thing went wrong was probably the best part of how they made the thing, and coupled with the score, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, still brilliant today. Three of the best actors for me. So you've got Roy Scheider, the late Roy Scheider, sadly, the late Robert Shaw, and Mr. Richard Dreyfuss, who I believe is still around. All three, perfect for their roles, especially Richard Dreyfuss, when he turned up for one of his interviews. He turned up looking like a scruffy hippie, and it was perfect for Hooper, the oceanographic geographic scientist. Perfect casting. Didn't have to touch anything. Exactly how he looked. Ironically, I was watching this this morning, and it's still funny that Robert Shaw, who played Quint, did drink, but that's what he thought his character should be like, and it worked. Brilliant performance, absolutely brilliant performance. He wasn't drunk all the time, but he wanted to try it, And if you look at when he's drunk and you look at when he's sober, you can't tell the difference between the two. For me, the most iconic scene wasn't the shark. It wasn't the shark. The most iconic scene was when they're on the Orca in the middle of the ocean, and they're talking about the USS Indianapolis. I mean, that was the thing. It was about it was a soliloquy of about 20 pages or something, and I think Robert Shaw, I read somewhere that he got it down to about eight pages, beautifully written and beautifully delivered on film by Robert Shaw. That's the most iconic part of the film, is that particular scene with that particular delivery. There's some funny moments in it as well in Jaws. It's not just a horror adventure. There are some funny moments in it, but for 50 years ago, the effects that they used. So you've got seat of your pants special effects that didn't work, but they did work in a funny way. You know, the fact the shark malfunctioned was perfect because they figured out that not seeing it is more terrifying than seeing it. Just add the music, as we said, and it's got one of the most famous improv lines in the film, which is improvised by Roy Schneider. And I mean, you all know the line. He steps back from seeing the shark for the first time, and what does he say? You're gonna need a bigger boat. That was improv, on the spot improvisation. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, genius. Richard Dreyfuss, sorry, not Richard Dreyfuss. It's got the sort of echoes of Alfred Hitchcock films in it as well. You've got the dolly on the beach, the sort of zoom dolly, if you will, where the little Kittner boy is taken for the first time, and you've got just Roy Scheider in the shot, and you've got the zoom, and you know it's the zoom into his face, that dolly zoom. Brilliant shot, absolutely brilliant shot. And then you know, sadly, but for me on the beach, what's even sadder than the Kittner boy, it wasn't just that. This was sort of in the background. This was kind of in the background. In fact, I think it's actually I've got it in here, like sort of it's a picture of Amity of beach, because Amity means friendship, does it not? So in here we've got inside. This was the 30th edition. Yeah. So inside you've got the two discs, but you've got the beach scene, haven't you? There, as many of you may recognise it. It's the that first scramble. But the dog that is in the background, what was it called? Pipette. Pipette, and you got the kid throwing the stick for it. He goes, Pipette, Pipette, come on, Pipette, and no dog. Now, I still don't know to this day. Did the dog? Dogs are intelligent creatures, aren't they? So, what happened to the dog? Did it just? We don't know. Did it run away? You know, from the danger? Was it taken by the shark? We don't know. There was just suddenly a dog, and then no dog, nothing. So what happened to Pipette? What happened to that dog? We don't know. No one knows. Tell me if you know. Leave me a comment if you know what happened to Pipette. Because for me, that was even sadder than the Kittner boy in the film. It just disappeared. You know, It's there and then it's not there. So what happened to Pipette, the dog? Don't know. And one thing, who cried when Mrs. Kittner, the mother, is walking along in a panic, trying to find a kid. I did. I cried. It was a lot of things in that sequence that brilliantly acted. Brilliantly acted. Even the extras. I mean, the kid with the dog. I don't think he actually had anything in the script. I think he was just told by Spielberg, just act normal. Just call for your dog. Your dog's not there. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. It was an extra. But that was sadder for me, and the mum looking for the Kittner boy. That was so sad. It really was. I cried. The fact that there's no rear projection in any of the film, as far as I know, which is good, because Spielberg wanted to do it live with as much interaction as possible with the ocean, and the idea behind it. I mean, for me, the orca, one of the main characters is the orca. The orca becomes, apart from the obviously the shark, it's man against shark, but the orca becomes its own character, doesn't it? And you get the feeling. The idea was total isolation. So if you look north, south, east, and west, what do you see from the orca? Nothing, no land. That's the idea. Total isolation, and it works. It works brilliantly. But you get some of the best one-liners on board that ship as well. From all three of the actors, some of the best one-liners I've ever heard, and they're funny. It's funny, some of it. What one part of the film that really made me jump was, let me see, not the head coming out of the hull. Not that didn't make me jump, because I kind of knew that something was going to happen there when I first saw it. It was too obvious because you had too big a gap in the hull, and yeah, that's also a mistake as well there, have you noticed, with that, because the way the tooth was embedded, it was back to front. What was it? Oh yes, on board the boat, just before they start singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home," they're drinking to each other's legs and comparing scars. Brilliant scene, absolutely brilliant scene. I still love that scene today. So let's drink to our legs. We'll drink to our legs. Brilliant scene. Love it. Absolutely love that scene. But it incorporates, in many ways, it reminds me of how Star Wars was made. Many of the effects nobody had ever tried before. Nobody had built a mechanical shark before, had they? Nobody. And Lucas and Spielberg were also very good friends. They were from the same alumni, weren't they? But they sort of helped each other. They did. But the way they found the name Jaws, it was staring them in the face all the time. They just didn't realize it. Just the one word, Jaws, because they went through a whole series of possible names, didn't they? Like into the jaws of death, into the jaws, into and too many words. So one word came out eventually, Jaws. And it was staring him in the face. Brilliant title. Couldn't have done it better. sadly, a lot of the actors are now no longer with us. Some of the best cinematic performances, especially Robert Shaw's delivery, when he's talking about how he'll catch the fish, how it, bad fish, how he'll catch it. One of the best scenes in the film, not the best, but one of the best scenes. But no, for me, when he's talking about the USS Indianapolis, that's the most iconic scene. But I've remembered the bit that made me jump was actually when he was looking through his book of all the pictures of shark attacks, and Lorraine Gray's character, his wife Ellen Brody, suddenly appears, and he goes like that. That made me jump more than the shark. Just that moment, and when he says to his son, "Get out of that boat," he meant it. He meant it. He became that character. But that made me jump more than the shark. When he was looking through the book, and suddenly she appears. That made me jump. That wasn't supposed to be a scary part of the film, but that made me jump more than the shark. Very. One of the obvious mistakes in the film is when Robert Shaw slides into the mechanical shark's mouth. You can see the teeth are fake, and obviously the knife he's using isn't real either. You can see that, and you can see if you look closely, when the blood comes out of his mouth, you can see it's fake blood as well. It just is. But brilliantly acted, and like how they made Star Wars in many ways, without a lot of those mistakes, you wouldn't have what we have today. In filmmaking, it was raw. It was. There were so many arguments as well on set. So many arguments. But if it were not for those arguments, those performances wouldn't exist. They wouldn't, because like in Jaws, you had the natural rift between Quint, didn't you, and Hooper. You had that because they didn't get on anyway. But it was brilliant because on the film you could see that tension between them. And then there's Roy Scheider in the middle, the family man, who's trying to, terrified of the water, trying to keep the peace. But the storyline. I mean, halfway through, Spielberg actually changes the story. So from seeing the shark to not seeing the shark, and it was a genius move because it worked. It worked. How many of you knew how at the beginning, when we see Chrissy Watkins taken, how many of you think she's is that filmed on the ocean, or is that filmed in a pool, in a swimming pool somewhere? And is she wearing a harness? Is she being pulled that way and that way and that way, or is that just is that not the case? I've read about 3 different versions of the same scene, and there's a little bit of no one actually no one's telling what actually happened. Did she hurt herself? Were those screams real? Was she told to lean her head back, as Spielberg suggests, and she had water poured in her mouth right at the last minute when she screams, and she goes under? And did Spielberg actually pull her under? Do we know? Do we actually know that those things actually happened? Whether they did or not, it was perfect. It worked. But the one thing that has always puzzled me is when the shark takes the victim, as it with the Kittner boy. You saw a lot of blood, obviously. I know it was at night, but surely you would see some difference in the color of the water, even at night. You would see something, surely, but you don't see anything, do you? Uh, Nothing. Does that work? Yes, it works, because it's left to your own imagination, which as Spielberg says is probably more terrifying than actually seeing a shark. So yeah, he's right. How do I feel about the film now? I still feel. Oh, I watched it. I watched it today, and it's still as brilliant as it was when it was first made. It really is. Um, that's another picture that's got on this. That's the orca there, and they also had the genius of using miniatures or false perspective, if you will. Getting somebody very small and putting them in a cage to make the shark look enormous. Because as we know, Carcharodon calcareus or great white sharks, um, they don't grow to 25 feet long. They're a maximum, if you're lucky, of 20 feet. So that was just for dramatic purposes to make it look bigger. Yeah, but it suggests that the shark in the film was female, not male, because apparently females grow slightly bigger than males. And I read somewhere, what happens when a shark stops swimming altogether? When a shark stops swimming altogether, it either drowns or it dies. Apparently, I didn't know that. And there is Christy Watkins. That's on the inside cover. There she is, right at that moment where she's being tugged from side to side, apparently. But yeah, I'll wrap this up by saying that it's still even though a lot of the effects are practical effects, it's still as brilliant today as it was 50 years ago. This is the 30th anniversary 2-disc edition. I believe there is I missed out on the 40th. There is a 50th anniversary special edition coming up. Apparently, it's had mixed reviews from what I've read. So, if you are a fan of Jaws still, after 50 years, if you're old enough, I'm 58 this year in December. I didn't see it until the first time I saw it, I was 19. I didn't see it at the cinema. I have since. I have seen it since. When I was still single, not when I was married. It is coming out again on the big screen for the 20th, I believe. If you're old enough to have seen it, do you remember it? Leave me a comment below if you remember it. Were you scared? Were you not scared? Did you laugh? Were you sick? Did you run out of the theatre? What happened? Tell me. I'd love to know. When I saw it, did I hide behind the sofa? No, I loved it. It did make me jump and it made me cry. I'm curious. Do you see it as a horror, as an adventure, or something else? Man against shark. How do you see it? How do you feel about it still today? Leave me a comment below. I'd be interested to know. But Yeah, that's my celebrating 50 years of Jaws. But the most the iconic one I'll remember, the iconic is that one. I'll always remember this one from the cinema, and from, you know, because that was the billboard, wasn't it, at the cinema when you went to see it? That one, that was it. Yeah. So yeah. So leave me a comment below. Tell me how you feel about the film still, because I love it. I still love it today. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you for celebrating with me, if you have done. Thank you for listening. Just wanted to do that because it's important if you're a film fan like I am, and if you enjoy the special effects, how films are made, and the script. If you like all those things, that's why I did it. So what's coming up? I'm going down to London next weekend. If you look in the community section, I've already posted something about that. Also, in the community section, look at I found a thing with where Kermit from the Muppets is addressing a university. Please watch it because it's so funny. It's so funny. It really is. And I've got another couple of funny things that you wouldn't normally think were funny, but they are funny. So have a look at my community area. That's where I'll also keep you fully updated with everything that's going on the channel. Okay. So I'm going to be putting up another film about crows, and I've got a little quiz for you with that one. Crows, as in birds, those sort of crows. You know. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Be kind to each other. Kindness always replaces kindness. And thanks for celebrating Jaws after 50 years with me. Take care. Bye for now. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. There are some more Scent Wars coming up, and some more special effects coming up, because I've got to conclude my story. I'm still in the middle of filming that. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought because I'm having to think of a good storyline to conclude it, which I will. So don't panic. Everything will be in the community section. Please check that out, because I will be updating that as I do regularly to tell you what's coming up. Okay. See you soon. Bye for now.